Hello, I am so excited today to introduce you to my friend Renee of Varble Math, which is a fun rebrand that has happened in the past few months. You might have seen Renee on my stories or in different pictures because we worked together really closely in the Confident and Ambitious Mastermind last year. So that's what we're going to chat about. But Renee, tell us all about you, your business, where you're located now, because that's another big change that happened for you in the past year. Tell us all the things.
Where do I begin? I like that question, but it's like, where do I begin? Like, I don't want to go too far
Question.
back, right? So I have my elementary education degree. I have also started working on my master's degree, but everything in all of my education background focuses on math and science, which I have a huge passion for. I homeschool my 14-year-old daughter, and I've homeschooled her since she was, probably before school age, right? Um, and I've worked in public school systems. I have tutored as young as 4 years old, all the way up through college age. But my biggest passion is my business and helping students who are out of the box thinkers develop and realize the way they process math, which then leads to building their competence and confidence. So I've been running my business online for almost 7 years now. And so long before COVID happened, I was already online teaching and comfortable with all this. So I absolutely love the flexibility in what I do because, I've tutored in person, but being online, if I pick up one morning and my daughter and I are like, okay, we're going to drive down to Key West, grab my computer and go, okay, we got to make a stop at such and such time because I've got a student.
Love that.
Okay, you do it, you have class and your students start asking you questions, where are you going? So then you get to have a lesson about the math and you get to have a lesson with the science. And it just all works together to help my students realize that math is all around them, just as reading is, but we don't put enough emphasis throughout the whole world in how important math is.
Yeah.
There's summer reading programs, but there's nothing about math. Or, and it doesn't matter. Like, I've taught students in over 35 countries across the world. So math is what I call a universal language. So math goes everywhere with us. And it's the same across the board.
Yeah.
So it's just my passion, and I absolutely love what I do.
I love that so much. And people can feel your passion. I know that's one of the things that I love
Mm-hmm.
so much working with you is there's never any doubt about that. Like math is your thing, but not only math, and you started to bring this up, but teaching kids the confidence to love math and to be able to use it and what that can look like for them, because that's such a key piece missing in so much of the math curriculum, and curriculum and any type of curriculum, honestly, is that confidence piece. Will you talk a little bit? Was there like an aha moment for you when you were like, okay, confidence is actually the part of of my business that I'm really passionate about? What did that look like?
So I would say it was a few years ago when it slowly came about. Didn't realize it. It was, talking to you, talking to others. And, the majority of my students are homeschooled, but I do have students who are in the public and private school system. And so across the board, I've seen so many different things. And finally, one summer, it's been 2 summers ago now, that I decided I was going to go on a binge, and I bought everybody's used math curriculum. I didn't care what curriculum it was. I didn't care what level it was. I didn't care if it was written in. Everybody was like, oh, there's writing in it. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I want it all. And I mean, my bookshelf was jam packed with it. And what I believe, so the confidence part came before that. But once I had that summer where I bought all that curriculum and I kept it for a year and I dug into all of it, that's when it not only became the confidence, but it came the competence and the way that you process math, because that's what all math curriculum is missing.
Mm,
And, there's not a bad math curriculum out there. Every curriculum is made for, different people, and different families feel that they need different things, and that's fine. I'm not saying that I don't bash curriculum, right? But what I found is that there's students that come to me, what they're using or what they have available to them at school is missing what they need. So I supplement what they need. And I basically have been writing my own math programs by doing, it's basically a hybrid program, right? It's all the things that my students need, and it's self-paced, but it's geared toward the student need. So everything is very individualized, right? But we can still work together in a very small group, right? Not like individual Zoom rooms. We don't do any of that. But we work together as a small group to collaborate together, listens to each other's thoughts, so that if someone has a different way of processing than this person, we can go, oh, I see what you're thinking. I didn't think of it this way. So then that just allows our problem solving skills and our brainstorming abilities to grow. So it really started several years before I did my curriculum binge summer, as I call it. But what I found is that it all led up to what I'm doing now. And so everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel like that part of your journey is where it's so similar with mine even, is that it's like baby steps, and like it wasn't necessarily one aha moment, but just like taking in all the pieces of your journey as you're learning and you're working with students and finding what works and what doesn't. You're like, oh yeah, this is the thing that I'm meant to be doing, which I think is so cool.
Yeah. It didn't happen overnight. Like you said, it's those baby steps. And that was something that I remember hearing about a long time ago,
Mhm.
and I'll be honest, didn't think it applied to me. I'm going, oh no, that's for that other type of business stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
It applied to me. So that's okay.
I love that realization too, because I've definitely had those myself. I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't for me, or that doesn't pertain to me. I can do it this way. And then you start doing it, you're like, yeah, actually, just kidding, they were right. We live and we learn, right? So
Exactly.
tell us about how your business progressed this past year, if you can go back. So like this time last year, when you were getting ready to invest in the mastermind, to where it was, a month ago, because the mastermind wrapped up the beginning of June. What sort of changes, what sort of progression did you see? Did you have any aha moments for your business? Tell us what that looks like.
I think it's all of the above. So basically, I would say a year ago today, or this time last year, I was probably at a point where my confidence wasn't, it, my energy is always there. My energy is like a nonstop. I never have to think about, it comes through the camera whenever I'm speaking with parents and children. So don't have to worry about that. My confidence level is a wishy-washy, right? Even a year ago, it was wishy-washy. It's the best way to explain it. And so sometimes it was there and sometimes it wasn't. And I think what really worked for me was a mix of several things. I love reading books. I love reading books. I used to read a lot of fantasy type books. Now I haven't touched those in so long, even though I want to finish the series I started, because now I read so much about neuroscience, which 3 years ago, if you had asked me, never would have thought that that would have been something of interest. I love digging into educational neuroscience because it helps me understand how to help my students better, helps me understand how my students are processing things, helps me explain things to parents to help them understand how their children are learning things. So it just allows me to take what knowledge I thought I had and expand it tremendously. So reading different books, podcasts was big time huge. I've binge listening to probably 2 or 3 different podcasts. Some were better than others, but all of that to say that it finally, things just started clicking. Things started coming into place, right? Big adult decisions that I was getting ready to make, and put my big girl panties on. And I was like, all right, here we go. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to move, 9 hours away. Okay, how is this going to work? Okay, great. All I need is internet and good lighting, and I'm good to being able to teach. But what happens when things happen and things get turned upside down on you? And so it really, over the past year, I have learned that I take it, I learn from it, and I move on, right? Making decisions, I'm making more bolder decisions. I think I don't even know if that sounds like bolder decisions. Yeah, I think so. my decisions are more bold, right? Like I used to, I would sit and ponder on it and think about it and procrastinate on it, overthinking. Oh my God. Those were the two things a year ago that was huge. Overthinking and overwhelm. Now,
Yeah.
I don't even know that those exist anymore in me, or at least not nearly like they used to, right? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, this time last year, I would have said my overwhelm and my overthinking were at a 10 plus. Now I'm going to say they're less than 5, you know, at a 3 or a 4. So yeah, I mean, it just, a lot has happened in a year, and being with a group of women that I can learn from and listen to and have ideas to bounce off of, or even just listening to them go through their situation with their business, allowed me to find doors that I would not have ever thought of opening. And instead I kicked them down, and, you know,
Yeah.
I am where I am now.
Yes. Yeah. You are thriving in your business. You
Yeah.
didn't mention one product that I was wondering if you would mention. There's something new in your business in the past year, because you were just doing one-on-one and dipping your toe in like the summer camp style, but then you took all of your ideas that have been brewing forever. And do you want to share?
Yeah, so I think I know what you're talking about. So yes, I was really into the one-on-ones. I thought that was the only way that I can make money, because that's how I was making all of my money. That's how I was, you know, that's what all of my students and their families wanted, right? And I really had my blinders on. Again, overthinking and overwhelming. And then things were opened up to me to consider other options. And that's where the small group idea came into play, and making my own math programs and all of this, just, and this wasn't just the past year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it started sooner than a year ago, did it?
This past year, I
I
think.
didn't think so. Like, I don't even remember when I started the process.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. And then you went with the summer camps. And then I was like, let's think of something where Renee doesn't have to be on all the time. Like, you wanted the hybrid model, which I love. And I think that's so unique. But then also having those resources for your students to have self-paced, go back if they need it, was huge, I think, for you to create.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember. I do remember, you know, Lindsay had mentioned an idea like this to me, and I was like, okay, I'll think about it. Again, overthinking and overwhelm. And I thought, oh, I can't do this. This is, what am I going to do with my one-on-ones? How do I make this work? And it, you know, over time, it finally, everything comes together when it's right. And when it comes together, this big, huge, you know, firework, so to speak, just happens. And it just allowed me to go, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that's where some of those, that bolder decisions started happening. So that's what I believe. I finally just quit overthinking.
Ooh,
And when I stopped doing that,
yeah.
that's when I truly believe everything started coming together,
Yeah.
right? The puzzle pieces started fitting, and you know, much easier. And I love what I do. I
Yeah.
have parents that are like, okay, what plans should we have? You know, I have a new family, and they're like, all right, what are your recommendations? I was like, based on my experience, based on what I've seen your child show me, and what I'm hearing from you as well, here is where I would start. I would start with one-on-ones for this reason, you know, and I'm explaining why. And then I'm explaining, okay, and then from there, we would transition into our hybrid program. And here's the reason why, right? And, you know, and I was like, if they're ready for the hybrid program sooner than what I have written out as a goal, by all means, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why I've considered for the student to start with the one-on-ones and then move into the hybrid.
Yeah.
So it's based on my experience. It's based on all the things that I've read, and the things that I've learned, and how I use my 3 simple steps to determine how a student processes math. And then that's where everything, like, that's the heart of the entire process, is how do they process math? And then from there, we're able to figure out where we're going.
Yeah. Figure out.
So yeah, I mean, it really is. I truly believe it all was about kicking the overthinking to
Mhm.
the curb. And once that happened, I was like, all right, let's get in. Let's dive in. Let's do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I got to figure it out, but that's okay.
I think probably every woman listening to this can relate to that. If you're listening to this,
Well,
raise your hand if you're an overthinker. Yep. Yep. So I'm so
yeah. And I mean, and it's
glad.
not just with your business, it's with
Right.
parenting.
Mhm.
It's with, whatever adult decisions you might be needing to make.
Yeah.
We all overthink. And trust me, I get it. And I'm not going to say that overthinking doesn't creep in,
Yeah.
but I found when I finally, reached the peak of it, and I was sick and tired of it, I complained about it all the time. I know I did. I know all the ladies in there were probably sick and tired. Like
Wow.
they love my energy, but I'm sure in the back of their mind, they're like, man, if she would just get rid of that overthinking, she would move on. And sure enough, I did. And I can't explain what one thing or group of things allowed that to be kicked to the curb.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for it, whatever it was,
Yep.
and moving on. It's behind me, and I don't care anymore.
I love it. I love it. So you might have already touched on this a little bit, but do you remember, again, back a year ago, so I know it's a long time ago, was there one thing that was the reason that you decided to join the mastermind, or what was the like, okay, I'm going to do this?
So I thought that I've heard Lindsay talk about masterminds. I've heard other people. I've seen them on Facebook, and so all those sort of things. But I thought, I'm doing this on my own. Just me. And besides having, a coach involved or something like that, being able to kind of talk to others to get their perspective, their thoughts, that's truly what led me down the path of, okay, let's join. I didn't overthink that really a whole lot. I mean, I did think about it for a while, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but I didn't overthink it because I was like, I'm investing in me. And that's the best way to grow your business is to invest in yourself. Don't overthink that,
Mm,
right? Because
mm,
the money you put into yourself, the books that I've bought, the programs I've done online, the webinars, any of that stuff, the mastermind too. When I put that money toward myself, I was doing it for me, which meant that I knew I was determined I was getting something out of it,
ooh,
no
yeah.
matter what size.
Yep.
Yep. Because I spent the money on myself.
Ooh. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I wish I could have like fire emojis like shoot up on the on the video.
And I didn't hear that didn't just come from me. I've heard that from other people say the same thing.
Yeah.
When you put forth effort and time and money toward you, and I don't just mean self-care,
Right.
but toward me growing in my business and growing as a person, that's when the fireworks were. And that's when,
Because you knew
probably
you knew there you had that potential in you for bigger things with your business.
people were telling me I did. I didn't see it.
I
I'll be
bet
honest, I didn't see it.
down you knew like you could do some really awesome stuff. Because you, like you said, you're so passionate about your math and your kiddos. Like that's the most important piece, of your business is that passion and that purpose. And then, like you said, you can invest in the courses, the masterminds, the coaching, and all those things to fill in the missing pieces to really help you create what it is that you want to create, without the little holes that, and I'm the same way. That's why I'm always in a mastermind because I'm like, 99% of the stuff that my coaches tell me I know, but it's so nice to have someone having that like 30,000-foot view of you and your business to be able to tell you the things that sometimes we block out of our own, out of our own mind or like you said, the confidence piece too. Like we're all human. We're all going to have those days where you're like, okay, I'm burning it to the ground. So it's nice to have those calls to hop on, like you said, and like tell the other people who get it, right? Like tell them
Exactly.
doing the thing with you. Yeah.
And then they're brainstorming, things that, they're living in different parts of the country. And so they're seeing things and they're giving me ideas of things they've seen or heard of and thoughts and that I've never considered. And I was like,
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you for sharing. That's helpful. So
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that when everyone was giving different organizations and different grant ideas and stuff. I was like,
yep.
I've never heard of half these either. So this is why I'm really glad that this isn't a
No,
one-on-one
and like
call.
Yeah, and one of the ladies in the mastermind, like, you know, the things that she does is not where my daughter is at the level, you know, but when she gets closer, like I know I'm going to reach out to her. She's going to be a resource,
Yeah.
right? So it's amazing. I love it. And then being able to share others' businesses
Mm.
to
Yep.
people in my audience
Right.
allows, you know, it benefits them as well. So then I feel good about what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a win-win all the way around.
So was there one certain part that was your favorite part of the mastermind? I should have sent you these questions ahead of time.
No, I like that question because I had to think about one particular thing, which is what I ask my students. They don't like when I ask them this.
I
I'll
know.
get back from vacation. I was like, what's your one favorite thing? Like if one thing out of all it, but Miss Renee, I have more than one. I'm like, no,
You
just
got
one. Yep. So now you're putting the question on me that I ask my students. So to pick one would be seeing, like stepping outside of the box and seeing all of our growth over the time of the year, over the course of a year, and how over each period of time that we met, at the time we thought they were small, you know, steps, but after a year,
Yep.
there were huge steps from you know, the beginning of our time together to the end of our time together. So yeah, I mean, that's the sort of stuff that I like to look at, because to me that's a math thing, that's a spatial thing, that's a thing that I love. So I look at that and I'm like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So,
And it's so funny you say that, because when you're in the thick of it, it doesn't seem like you're making that much progress sometimes. But yeah, I love to look back at like, okay, literally where you were at this time last year compared to where you're at now. Like you said, we can get so much done in a year. And
I mean,
it's
I do the same thing even with my numbers of students. You
mm,
know, I look at them from a year ago to where I am now, and I'm like, wow,
yeah.
how have I communicated with that many families? Like,
Mhm.
where did they, of course, I know where they came from, you
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
word of mouth or this or that or whatever. But it's like, wow, I didn't realize that I honestly grew that much in a year,
Yeah.
you know? So
I love that. Well, congratulations on that.
thank you.
If someone is listening to this and they're on the fence about joining the mastermind, what is something you would tell them?
Stop overthinking. Do something for you to grow your business and to grow help yourself grow. You're not, it's not that you can't grow by yourself,
Mm,
but you're more likely to grow when you're around others than when you're, you know, solitary, right? Even if your business has two people in it, doesn't matter.
yep.
Being able to step outside of the box and work with a group of ladies, whether they're in the same business as you are or not, which I believe none of us were even in nearly the same
No,
area, you
right.
know, which was interesting. And that's what allowed me to see things from a different perspective, you know, with their ideas for me, as well as me watching and listening to what they were going through. So yeah, just don't overthink it, because what good's it going to do you?
Yeah.
What good's it going to do you?
Ooh, I love that.
Nothing. You're just not going to move forward
I feel like
as
that
quickly.
your like new slogan, like don't overthink. It's going to be like your new tagline on all the
Yep.
things. So, all right, how can people work with you, or do you have anything coming up down the road? Tell us all the places and I'll be sure to link them as well, because I know someone listening to this, I'm sure, has some sort of math needs with their children, and you're the perfect person for that.
Yes. So here's what all the different ways you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Varble Math. Also, if you want to follow my personal page, it's Renee Varble on Facebook. But varblemath.com is my website, and that's where it's in the process of being revamped. So don't, if something seems to be down or isn't working, don't panic. Just contact me. I can send you the information. But all my information is across the board on all those different platforms and different places that you can find me. I do have some YouTube videos that are public. Some of mine are unlisted because those are specific for my programs, but I'm putting a lot more out there in reels on social media about, different things that I'm finding parents asking me. And so I'm trying to share those questions and thoughts to think about. But it does not matter the age of your child. It does not matter if they're going to a public private school or if they're homeschooled or if they're even ready for school. If you have math questions or you feel that your child is struggling in any way, shape, or form in math, you need to get in touch with me the sooner the better. Because the sooner we can start working on it means that, wherever their confidence level is now, it keeps it from plummeting. We can go ahead and start it now, and we can continue to build it so that it's growing and their math competence is growing also. So definitely reach out to me, because if you can't feel my energy now, just wait till we start talking about math. Like once I get on the computer with families, and let alone when I'm talking to their children, I mean, it just like oozes out of me, and everybody is like, oh my gosh, I can feel your passion and your enthusiasm. I'm like, oh, wait till you have class with me. Like, then it's like even bigger, if you can imagine it being bigger. Because I tell my students, you don't have to love math as much as I do, but we're going to increase your confidence and your realization that math is all around you and you need it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So definitely I work with out of the box thinkers. So if your child is struggling, they could be an out of the box thinker, and we need to determine how they process math, how they learn, and then we just grow from there.
Yeah. Get them that confidence, which I realized as you were saying that, I'm like, oh my gosh, confidence is in the name of my program as well. When you were like, get in now before, don't wait. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could literally say the same thing for the mastermind. Like, don't wait another year or 2 years. Like you said, invest in yourself. So yeah, go find Renee.
Regret it the longer that you wait.
Yeah,
definitely.
100% agree. Yeah, that's what I told my coaches that I just re-enlisted in their mastermind. And I said, I wish I would have found you 4 years ago. Because just imagine, the growth that could have
happened. The reason you didn't find them 4 years ago is because you weren't ready for them 4 years ago.
That's also true.
I wasn't ready for my hybrid program a year or two ago. Because I just wasn't at that part of my life, and with the amount of knowledge that I have now compared to then, I wasn't ready for it. Yes.
You're so right. So right. Yep. All right. Well, everyone go find Renee, varblemath.com, Varble Math in all the places. And Renee, thank you so much for your time. It's always a joy talking to you. I appreciate you.
Fantastic to talk to you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.